All right. So we're still dealing with the trust handbook, the Weiss Trust Handbook. Last Sunday we were dealing with trust instruments, operation, how it works, how it's in a common law jurisdiction. We went through a couple case laws dealing with trust and how you're considered a natural person when you're operating through a trust as a trust officer. That's the lingo in generic trust law. But of course, whatever Morris titles that we give it in our organization, it's still an elected official. But in trust law, looked at as a trust officer. All right. So before we transition to this next segment dealing with trustee basics, I'm going to read the tail end of the last segment dealing with trust certificates. This last paragraph here. So as a rule, the terms and provisions of the trust instrument control the manner in which beneficial and capital interests are to be administered and determine the rights of interest holders who, incidental to their acceptance of the interests, are bound under the trust instrument as such. But there are certain principles which govern these interests in construing the fundamental classification of the trust. For instance, it is held that where the certificate holders have control over trust property and or administration of the trust affairs, the trust arrangement is deemed a partnership in which the shareholders become liable for the acts of the trust. The basic principle is that if it is free from the control of interest holders, then it is an express trust. This is commonly referred to by courts of equity as the control test, in which control must ultimately rest with the trustees of the trust in order for it to be properly classified as an express trust. The well-settled principle applied by courts of equity is that interest holders, by full legal title and control over the trust property being vested absolutely in the trustees, cannot be considered partners nor agents, and therefore cannot be held liable for debts of the trust in the manner so done with partnerships and agencies. So to summarize this paragraph, we're distinguishing trust certificates distinguished from certificates that get issued by people that got LLCs. Those would be called shares. And shares and trust certificates are two different things. And one classification gets taxed, the other one doesn't, because it's based on the bylaws of the trust or the trust indenture or trust instrument. And we already went through case law back the last class and the class prior to that, dealing with case law that supports what I just said. So one of the, I guess, the sniff test to see if things are operating properly in trust is if the trust is trustees, right? One of the elements. So furthermore, the certificates have no determinable fair market value, and therefore no gain or loss is recognized until the cost or other basis of the property disposed of has been recovered. Case law and Commissioner of the IRS versus Marshman, the court held that fair market value was determined by property received by taxpayers, not the fair market value of the property transferred by the taxpayer into the trust. What more is that certificates are considered not necessarily as chattels, but as documentary evidence of ownership and tangible rights. And in of themselves, they are the personal property of the holder, not the actual interest or share itself. It is contrasted with, so contrasted is the opposite, with certificates of stock. Like I was saying earlier, right? So stock gets issued by LLCs, S corps, C corps, right? Which courts have held may be dealt with in market as commercial document value. So that's a commercial venue or jurisdiction rather. Dealing in trust is not a commercial jurisdiction. You're invoking common law and a whole nother channel. Certificate of stock, which courts have held to be dealt with in the market as commercial document of value. But the courts also hold almost unanimously that the presence of a certificate stock within the jurisdiction gives no power to take the rights evidenced by the certificate. Unlike stock, however, the interest in an express trust cannot be traded without the prior approval of the trustees of the trust. So these are the differences between a mere corporation and trusts, right? Brother Toledo, Islam.
Islam, everybody.
Good to see you, man.
Yeah, likewise.
Peace, peace.
Islam.
Brother Richard, Islam, I see you in here now.
Yeah, normally if I see the emails, I pop in, man, if I can. So it's good to see y'all.
Islam. All right, trustee basics. Trustee basics. First and foremost, any person, man, sovereign, trust, corporation, etc., capable of taking legal title to property can be a trustee. And there is no limit to the number of trustees who may serve on any one trust. Generally, where there are more than one trustee, the trustees with respect to each other are referred to as co-trustees. And when acting jointly as a collective body are referred to as the board of trustees. Furthermore, there is no law prescribing the character of a trustee, and while it has been held that a trust cannot be invalidated simply due to the incompetence of the trustee should be a person capable and fit for executing the powers and duties honorably. This is the basis for the general rule that beneficiaries are not desirable as trustees, though there is no law to forbid such appointment. Right, so the trustees can't be beneficiaries, but people don't do it because it's kind of like conflict of interest. But equity will generally avoid all temptation to breach a trust or breach of trust. The trustee should have remember, this is not a moral person, he's using residence. The trustee should have his residence within the jurisdiction of the court of equity in which the estate is located, if indeed the trust corpus is an estate. So actually, I like what he did there, actually, because he's pretty much saying back to whatever the bylaws or the language in your trust indenture. If it's not saying this trust is incorporated under the law of the state of California, if it's not using no language like that, then you're in a court of equity, common law. Right? In our case, common law based on our treaty. And so the language in our trust needs to be, this trust is in harmony with, you can put the holy books, treaties, you can mention House resolutions just to mention, you know, just to usher in the Inter-American Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous People. You know, sprinkle a couple articles in there on, you know, setting the tone for the jurisdiction of this trust. You know, whether it be a family trust or, you know, organization trust. It's still a trust indenture. It's bylaws. It's a, you know, a walking will of how, you know, the people involved administrate. But yeah, so that's what he means by the jurisdiction of the corpus estate, right? We're dealing with a state now, we're dealing with trust. And that's why Noble Drew Ali always mentions estate. We have a vast estate. He's talking trust law, right? So let that sink in. That's how the majority of the world works, right? All these, like I say, back to Chinatown, Koreatown, they all have trust organizations, right? So their funds gets jurisdictionalized. That's why they have these districts, right? They have estates, businesses to pass down to their heirs. Literally, it's written. Like, you know what I'm saying? They practice in trust law. All their stuff's in trust. But where the trust corpus is portable land, the trustee need not to be resident within any single jurisdiction, which non-residency will not disqualify or preclude the trustee from carrying out his position. As far as accepting the appointment is concerned, acceptance should be made formally, expressly in writing, though it will always be implied if the individual intermeddles with the trust property or performs any act to carry out the trust. In case law to support that, you see the three right here. Woodhouse versus State Trust Company, right? C. Parker versus Montgomery Trust. These are all trusts going to court as a trust body. It's not one, you know, it's such, and if it is one, it's a person that's an ambassador for the trust. Or I'm using ambassador because we coming from, you know, politically, that's what it would be. We ambassadors for our nation, but you know, all trusts aren't national like that. But you know, as a temple, that's pretty much how we would be coming. Our ambassadors, or you know, in the language of this manual, trust officers, right? You know what I'm saying? They cover all bases. That's why you just need to be competent to know how everything is supposed to be executed. Okay, all right, so to support that. So once the acceptance has been tendered, no court of equity can prevent the trustee from holding that office, except for breach of trust or good cause, depending upon the merits of the particular case. Removal must be procured pursuant to the provisions of the declaration, right? So back to the bylaws. Whatever the people involved in that organization structured in the bylaws, that's the law. That's the declaration, right? Or where no such provisions are made by decree of a court of equity. But the office of trustees is not always a desirable one when the trust instrument conveys an unreasonable obligation. Again, this is where careful attention to detail is most crucial in preparing a trust instrument. The trust has a duty of care towards the beneficiaries and must harbor no bias in administration. The best rule is that the trustee should be given enough discretion to carry out his position to the best of his ability and responsible creativity. To put it plainly, the settlor must trust the trustee to carry out his duties and use his powers justly. Before I transition to powers and duties of the trustee, I want to open the floor Or any questions? All right. Powers and duties of the trustee. The powers of a trustee are divided into general, special, and discretionary ones. The general are all those inherent in trustees' virtue official, i.e., conferred by law. The special are all those conferred by the trust instrument, and discretionary are all those arising out of necessity of personal judgment by way of circumstance. Through ample discretion may also be conferred by law and under the trust instrument. Right, trust instrument, that's the same thing as declaration, same thing as bylaws. So all roads go back to the law was made by the people. And that's where you, even we the people, that phrase, that's a trust phrase. Moreover, it is well settled law that under a declaration of trust, the trustees have all the powers necessary to carry out the obligation of that private contract which they have assumed. Private contract. Furthermore, it is settled that the trustees of an express trust are afforded great latitude of power and activities than ordinary trustees. The trustees are empowered to control every aspect of the trust according to the trust instrument and equity, and retain the power to eject even the beneficiaries from the premises. These powers include, but are in no way limited to, the power to bind the trust in a contract, especially where such obligation is implied by law, and the power to contract with beneficiaries. Case law to support. You might want to screenshot that. All right. So power to, oh, was that something, Terry?
Oh no, I ain't saying anything. I'm just listening.
Okay, all right, so that's last. The power to partition, exchange, sell, pledge, or mortgage the trust property, either in whole or in part. The power to lease trust property, the power to issue change or otherwise dispose of securities of the trust, the power to support the beneficiaries in all reasonable manner, the power to prosecute and defend in the trust name or trustee's name, the power to make gifts out of trust property, the power to delegate all unessential powers and duties, and the power to exercise personal judgment and every discretionary power not prohibited by the trust instrument, and, as already shown, to do whatever is allowed to persons as a natural right. A natural right. All right. The fundamental principle of law is that for every power, there is a correlative duty. The trustee, as a fiduciary to the beneficiaries, assumes certain basic duties outside of the management of trust property, and certain duties aside from whatever specific duties may be conferred upon the trustee in the trust instrument. Right. These duties include, but are not limited to, the duty to support the beneficiaries in any essential needs which it may have out of the funds which would otherwise be paid to in its distribution. And if such funds are not available, the duty to accumulate any balance needed. Second bullet point, the duty to refrain from taking advantage of peculiar knowledge or position when dealing directly with beneficiaries. Third bullet point, the duty to exercise the utmost good faith in all concerns of the trust, whether dealing with the trust property itself or directly with beneficiaries, in matters concerning the trust, including to care for, protect, and secure the trust property. Fourth bullet point, to preserve, protect, and further the trust interests. So that's equivalent to, everybody needs to try to grow the society, or, think of business moves, or think of creative ways for us to expand economically, politically. In our case, as Moors, that would be our trust interests. But remember, this is not a Moorish person. We're just simply talking about trust law, just straightforward. Including pressing all available exceptions and taking all available advantages in such matters. When delegating unessential powers and duties, the duty to exercise at least a general supervision of the trust affairs and to perform any ministerial acts. So ministerial, in our culture, we call them sheiks. Sheiks, he's saying ministerial acts. And that's just a signification that, we're a national and religious organization. We have a religious creed as well. So that, that's how trust law works. You got all types of trust. And based on the type of trust, you're in a whole jurisdiction that's different from when you're not in trust. Especially if all the members of the trust got the same nationality, that's a whole nother situation. Let me see. I think I'm gonna stop right there. Islam, Hanuna, how you doing?
Islam, everybody.
Islam.
Peace and love. Peace and love. Yes.
Anybody got any thoughts, questions? Brother Toledo, how you been, man?
I've been good, man. Good. Just work hasn't been as busy. It's been kind of raining hard over here. I was gonna go to work today, but I couldn't even cross the river to get to the town. That shit was flowing.
Yeah, man, it's been raining a lot, man.
Yeah, it sounds like a bunch of frogs outside right now.
Oh, it's raining right now?
Nah, it's not raining right now. It was earlier, but all the water's still flowing, man. From all the creeks and the rivers and all that. It's loud, and I could hear like hella frogs out there.
Yeah. That's crazy. Oh, yeah, I forgot you was kind of out there.
Yeah, and the sticks.
Yeah. Frogs, man. But how everybody doing? Brother Richard, how you doing, man?
I'm doing pretty well. Trying to stay dry. It's pretty dry out right now. It's kind of raining like crazy. Other than that, work has been pretty smooth. Family time has been pretty smooth. Can't complain, man. And then I've been able to peep in on these lives, so been grateful for that. Also, kind of lacing myself up with a little bit more game from you guys. Sometimes I feel like when I read specific books, I feel like I also have to like drift towards you guys to also get an input with what you guys are learning as much as what I'm learning. And then I feel like that's how we meet in the middle and then we work together, I feel.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Yeah. You gonna say something, Brother Toledo?
Yeah, I got a question. When it comes to trust and stuff, um, there's a way to get them like notarized, right? Get it officially done.
I guess you could do that, but essentially a couple witnesses, and you want to create like a seal, like you're talking about like a family trust, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, create some type of seal, and yeah, thumbprint.
So you don't really need to hire actual attorneys and do all that if you don't want to.
No, you don't. Yeah, you don't want to do that.
That's the hustle right there, huh? That's how they get you.
Yeah, yeah, you don't want to do that. But you know, the last the last three sessions, if you go back, we've been kind of touching on this, so you can watch like 3 back-to-back videos and kind of see, because it's kind of getting specific. I like the way this guy breaking it down. You know, it's nothing. It's just a contract. You're gonna see in the beginning we transition from having the right to contract. And we even gave Article 1 a nickname, the contract clause or the trust clause. Because trust is nothing but a contract. And as he just said, it's a private one at that. So Article 1, Section 8, says no obligations shall be placed on contracts. And that was like the preliminary before we drifted into full-fledged trust law. But that's the connection, though. That's what makes it a common law, quote unquote. In our case, once again, common law based on Article 6, Clause 2, dealing with treaties and things of that nature. But common law, nonetheless, dealing with trust, right? That's what makes it protected, and why in this handbook he kept mentioning common law, and he kept mentioning natural person. So you're gonna see when you watch the videos, but he kept mentioning, you're considered a natural person operating, as a trustee, distinguished from a corporate. So these are, things that you want to just know,
Yeah, most definitely.
For the Leon, how you doing over there, man?
All good, all good. It's finally, I mean, it's been just as rainy over here and all that, but it gives us more time to dive in to the studies.
Yeah, man.
But yeah, it's been good.
Yeah, I found a new spot to do a pop-up at. It seemed like it's pretty cool, man.
Every time the sun starts shining, they get to spraying. So they only get like one day of sun, then it's raining, flooding again.
That's crazy. And also, is flooding out by you too?
Oh yeah, yesterday and the day before.
Do you guys
No.
believe in chemtrails? If you don't mind me asking.
Oh no, there's a lot of that. There's a lot of out here, man. As far as
I was
Yeah,
wondering. I was like,
far
I
as
wonder if
chemtrails, there's a lot. As far as chemtrails, that's a lot. It's a lot out here. As far as rain, you ain't got no rain out here, man. It ain't like how it used to be.
yeah,
As far as like you can smell it.
I get I normally get put on by one of my older sisters. She be telling me all the time. She's like, they're trying to block out the sun. And when she would always tell me, I literally didn't listen to her at first, but now every day that I go outside, I pay attention to the weather just to see what it looks like, and kind of makes sense, man. Like, I don't know, it's just weird. I feel like a lot of the science now, I feel like there is such thing where they can alter the weather or they can control the weather. It's very possible, bro.
They've been doing that. They've been
Yeah.
modifying the weather.
Yeah.
Um,
Long time.
Air Force has a patent on it because they wanted to modify the weather by 2025 so that they can be doing what they're doing right now. And the reason they're trying to block out the sun is because they're trying to reflect the light back to the firmament to break a way through, because they know that there's no way for them to get out of here. They've been trying to save themselves because they lack the melanin. But also, the thing is too, is like they're them doing that, you know, is the same way that we got hurricanes every year around the same time. You know what I'm saying? That's not normal. You know what I'm saying? All that was due to them. You know what I'm saying? Using the HARP machine, using all that stuff from up in Canada and all that, or Hawaii actually as well. And you know, sending out those frequencies, because we know our body is 70% water, and though you sending out these frequencies, it's either weakening our immune system or weakening our senses and our nervous system, or it's activating something in us, because some of us are, you know, we don't got all that bad stuff in us.
No doubt.
Also with the chemtrails, you know, it's aluminum, it's metals in there, so it takes me back to that movie Twister back in the day.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, you know how he threw the little metal things to read the way they
The
form and
Regan
everything.
tornado. Yep.
Yeah, so that's basically what it is. So think about like how Spider-Man or one of those movies, they were using the little nanobites, you know what I'm saying? And it was like fucking shit up. Same way they destroyed the fucking Twin Towers. That's basically what's in the sky right now. And that's why people, you know, fucking got metal in their body, because they're inhaling this stuff. As above, so below. So it's like,
I don't know if you noticed, like some phones are magnetic now. Like the phone I have right now is like magnetic. If like I stick it in
that's
the
how it is though with that.
Nah, it's really awesome to talk to other people that think alike, man. I was like, because for a very long time, I honestly felt like I was alone out here. And like, besides having my sister as an outlet, honestly felt like I was by myself. Or whenever I would talk about these type of things, people would kind of like look at me like some crazy person and shit. But yeah, don't seem so crazy now, man.
You're not crazy, man. You're just coming aware of what's really in front of you. You know what I'm saying? A lot of us are in this 3D illusion, and they don't want their illusion destroyed. You know what I'm saying? So they basically, they'll like, think about it. When Jesus was giving people the light, you know, people was turning it away because he was illuminated. You know what I'm saying? He was activated. You know what I'm saying? And those who were taking heed to it is all in all, like taking that in with them and going with them. The ones who was hating was the ones who was like, yo, I don't want this information. Now keep it to yourself. Like, nah, I don't need it. You know what I mean? Running away from truth.
Makes sense.
Yeah,
What is
as
your
long-
guys' take on Gwen Towers? Do you guys feel like those are actually playing a role in this too?
Well, the wind towers were for the oil. They were trying to get the oil out.
Man, I love this, bro. Like this is dope.
Yeah, and in addition to what the brother said about the chemtrails, it's also blocking us from getting our DNA activation and giving them more time.
I tried to get underground.
Yeah.
That's why all those spills happen.
Man, hey, look, hey, to add on to that, man, people, hey, what's given to us, man, is always we gonna have it anyway. So, you know, at the end of the day, I look at it like they just holding themselves back from, you know, getting punished. You know what I'm saying? That's how I look at it, because what's already yours is already yours. Can't nobody really try to take it away or stop you from getting it. You know, it's like It's like walking, you know what I'm saying?
So as if
Can't
the only
nobody
thing they
stop you
can
from-
do is like deplete you from whatever it is that they're trying to keep you away from.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so for them trying to block you from, getting that download, that I call it the Big Bang download,
Yep.
That's a good word
I
for it.
mean, it's in your destiny, it's in your DNA, it's your birthright to get it regardless. So, it's not nothing that anybody could do to really stop it, honestly, besides yourself,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. It's a speed bump for a spaceship. You don't do nothing.
Yeah. Cause we the spirit at the end of the day. So once you tap into that, I'm on some Dragon Ball Z stuff, you know what I'm saying? We powered up.
Man, you're in line.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel that.
Yeah.
That's all I wanted to say.
Yeah, but yeah, man, it is doing that as well, stopping the downloads. But even with that, because they trying to get out of here while trying to go and hide it at the same time. So as that sun heats up and the second sun behind that starts to come closer and be more hotter, they've been trying to get past the ice wall. You know what I'm saying? And that's not going to be for them. You know what I'm saying? That's going to be for us. You know what I'm saying? Because the people who are going to be in this 3D illusion are going to get stuck here. You know what I'm saying? And the prophet already said, like, those who don't get behind me right now, you're not going to be able to come back. You know what I'm saying? Like that reincarnation is real, but we in the times of the age of Aquarius where it's like, nah, like, you know what I mean? A lot of us already came back 107 times. You know what I mean? So
that's a lot of time.
Yeah, but you only could leave here with what you know. So every time you came back and you know what I'm saying, you losing yourself, your memory because you fallen, you know what I'm saying? You only can leave with what you know. If you don't know much, then you're gonna continue to fall back into that sleepy idol worshiping, false idol worshiping.
Hey man, that's deep, bro. That's deep. That's real deep.
Yeah, man. That's why, we can do what we can to have some heaven on earth, Everybody that's, works together, know their nationality, they're doing very well. They're not struggling and, so, we all got a choice.
That's what Kanye West said.
Yeah. But with your allegiance to. And, how you can play your role in building piece by piece, That's all we got. But I'm like I say, when I came across this information maybe 2018, and I feel like there's definitely a shift. I feel like it's definitely trending. So I'm happy. I'm happy to be alive during this time, man.
Islam.
Sloan.
Yeah, it's me.
Anybody else had any thoughts for the close out here? Okay. So Brother Terry, yeah, just work on that. And
Hey, I say, I'm really. Hey, the whole time you talking, I'm trying to get this last part. I'm trying to edit this that last part, man. It is not. I'm trying to tell you, I'm not getting no sleep tonight, man. This is gonna be a little a little project for me. So yeah, I got you, brother. I got you.
that's all.
Man.
Yes, it'll work out, man. Well, peace and love to everybody. Have a beautiful night, and see y'all Friday.
Peace and love.
Peace and love.
Peace and love.
Peace and love. Islam, everybody. Good night.
Love Islam.
Peace and love.
Islam.
Islam.